Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only, Mexi here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion 2, aka Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, for those of you who lived in North America, for the Nintendo 3DS/Nintendo Switch, as we are still playing through Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. So, last time, we essentially did manage to complete the previous mission in Old Clockworks. That's what appears to be mission C-4, Play Catch, and oh no, we actually did that mission also very well as well. So, generally speaking though, in addition about the fact that we somehow claim ourselves our, I would say the 9th gem, and on top of that, we also did manage to catch the 14th Boo. In addition to that, yet again, we somehow claim ourselves our glorious 3-star medal. So, yeah, we're doing pretty well so far in terms of Old Clockworks, except in the first mission, because just like Haunted Towers though, we somehow ended up getting the 2-star medal on the first mission, at least in one of those mansions. So today, for this video, is that we're going to be continuing things on and move on to the next mission in Old Clockworks, and that's what appears to be mission C-5, Peace at Last. So meaning about the fact that we've only got about one more clock part left until we can able to actually proceed into the Clock Tower Gate. So relatively speaking, that's as far as we can able to say about this, I guess. So now, when it comes to the forms of today's topic at this point in time, well, as you probably already know about the fact that recently today marks today's release of not only iPhone 16, but as well as iPhone 16 Pro, alongside with iPhone 16 Plus, and finally iPhone 16 Pro Max. And in addition to that, there's also the forms of AirPods 4, as well as AirPods Max, and finally, most notably though, is of course some Apple Watch models ranging from Apple Watch Series 10 alongside with Ultra 2. So yeah, there's quite a lot of multitude of Apple products has been recently released today. In addition to that though, is about the fact, as you probably already know, today's date of course there is the 20th of September today, in some cases in 2024 today, so it may look like we've only got about 11 more days to go until we're about to be approaching on to the 10th month, which is of course October. So relatively speaking that's as far as I can try to say about it. And finally, most notably though, is about the fact that we've got about 6 more days to go until The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom will be releasing up to this point. Okay, so we immediately start things off at Surface Elevator for once. Now, as far as I'm aware, is about the fact that this is where the later missions of this game is gonna get a lot more lengthy this time around. Not just because of how the fact that if we're trying to go for the most important aspect about this mission, but it's also about the fact that we are still aiming for a fully 100% completion still, meaning about the fact that there's gonna be some of those gems we can probably try to get. To be more specifically though, we're about to be trying to collect up to 3 gems on this mission, so... Whoa, it looks like we've met again, Sneaker. Except this time that he's actually a lot different this time. My guess is about the fact that we might come across into a stronger variant of Sneaker. So either way, I was expecting to try to get the whole bounty of coins, but thanks to the fault that EGAD decides to interrupt my progression, so it may look like about the fact I have to be quick about this, because obviously though, if you spend a long amount of time on this particular conversation, I'm a little bit worried about the fact that the bounty of coins will be disappeared, which I don't think that's the case, luckily though, but it's just, I felt it was a little bit annoyingly consistent sometimes, especially concerning for the fact that, then again, we have to come across into a lot of Professor EGAD's call a lot, especially concerning for the fact that with a lot of objectives we got to deal with at this point. So anyway, so let's go ahead and just obtain some more spirit balls to be able to reveal the actual bridge. So naturally though, we can able to actually access to something that's behind in this particular wall right there. So either way though, so it may look like about the fact that we might able to actually come across into a secret right there. So because of that, though, I just want to make sure if I don't miss any of those specific parts worth noting for. And straight to the point, there's another bonus area. So this time around, though, is about the fact that we now need to utilize with that particular springs that we can able to actually hop on to another segments to the upper. So now I believe that this particular bonus area might actually contain one of those gems in particular. So although thankfully though this particular bonus area is not too bad, unlike the other one though, which we'll get to later on, because relatively speaking though, I'm guessing it's probably because, well, I did have a lot of bad memories about that particular bonus area whenever I first experienced that on the 3DS version. So either way, so as a result, we've got ourselves yet another gem, specifically the 10th gem so far in Old Clockworks. So, but as I said before, it's about the fact that at this point, we're only going to be getting 3 gems in this mission, so I don't think it's possible we can get ourselves the 13th and the final gem until the next mission. So either way though, it might take a bit while to able to actually get to this point. So either way, so before we're able to actually continue our progressioning here, I just want to able to actually double check what's beyond over to this point, for this point right here. And it may look like they ended up in the storage room. So it looks like the sneaker and the greenie was actually having a conversation about the fact that they're trying to place that particular one of the final clock parts will be placed. So, and also one of the greenies actually noticed that we are, you know, being nosy and stuff like that. So he just puts the brick in that hole. So because of that, we can't able to actually see that little perspective again. So either way, let's go ahead and continue things on here into the service elevator again. And whoa! Jeez Louise, that particular safe, or the money safe I should say, has been crash landed at the very bottom of that particular elevator shaft. So yeah, that seems kind of strange. But regardless of such though, we've got a lot of money though, so yeah, everything else checks out there. Although at this point in time, it's about the fact that collecting money might not be necessary at this point right now, unless if you're really trying to go after the funds the best ranking results, at least in each and every single missions basically. So either way though, so, there's also another couple of things worth mentioning for, in regards to the forms of today's discussion in mind. And that's what appears to be about the fact that, well, remember what I said before about the fact that we're about to be getting 9 different minigame categories for the sake of Super Mario Party Jamboree? Well, basically though, it's about the fact that I do somehow managed able to found out that basically though, the 8-player minigames category, as I mentioned this before, since in 2 days ago, well, it's gonna be based off from the likes of the forms of one of those modes have been revealed for the likes of the forms of Super Mario Party Jamboree, and as of course, Bowser Kaboom Squad, where basically though is about the fact that we're about to take down a different counterpart of Bowser this time around though, and that's what appears to be Imposter Bowser. Get it? Because of how the fact that we've already got playable Bowser from the very get-go, just like the forms of how it does it in the original Super Mario Party, alongside with Mario Party 10, but unlike in Mario Party 10 though, that he only appears to be playable in not only in Amiibo Party, but as well as the forms of Bowser Party, the most main element of Bowser Party in Mario Party 10. So that's besides the point. So, and also, treasure chest was actually located in here after when you're trying to able to utilize with the dark light. And can you get over here? Thank you. So from here, we got ourselves the yet another gem. So as a result, this is our 11th gem that we somehow got. So yeah, only 2 more to go. However though, when it comes to obtaining the 12th gem though, we need someone in order to able to get to that particular 12th gem in mind. So, but as I said before, we're probably not going to get the 13th and the final gem on this mansion until the next mission. So, but once we get the forms of in the next mansion at some point, probably during at some point in next week or so, then hopefully though we can able to actually get back on track when it comes to likely trying to get not only 1 but 5 possible gems in one of those missions in particular. So anyways, let's go ahead and carry this gold bomb right onto this specific spot. So just in case we don't able to drop as many of those gold bars as much as we can, because obviously though we can now able to actually go from gear to gear. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of traversing into clock tower levels from the Castlevania games, except the fact that we can't jump. So either way, though, is why I classified that. Unless there is actually a technique you can able to actually do while trying to suck up those specific ghosts, and that's what it appears to be about the fact that you can able to jump or dodge, to be more specifically. So either way, so we somehow able to actually let that missing gear decide to show up now. This means that these specific gears are now moving. So either way, so let's just see what's beyond in this particular treasure chest right here. Of course, more money notes. I like the sound of that. So anyways, though, as I said before, it's about the fact that, well, obviously, though, a multitude of Apple products has recently released today, not only for America, but as well as the UK country as well, ranging from, you know, iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Plus, alongside with iPhone 16 Pro, and of course, iPhone 16 Pro Max, in addition to Apple Watch Series 10 and Apple Watch Ultra 2, and also AirPods 4 and AirPods Max, and among all others as well, which I could probably think about on top of my head. Well, that's besides the point. So either way, so let's go ahead and continue things on for this point right here, and just want to make sure if I don't miss any single aspects or anything else to be more specific. Although if I do ended up missing something, then obviously though I can just simply just try to able to edit out and try to figure out those specific things I did somehow miss ever since injuring evolves in gloomy manner. So either way, so let's just go ahead and try to able to activate the strobe bulb right at these slammers here, and oh, there's another gold greenie up there, but we can't able to actually get him straight away though after dealing with these two slammers first. So either way, so that way we can able to stun those two right here, and fundamentally we can now able to actually get the key for one of the lockers. Now here's the thing though, before we continue things on the other hand, there is actually a gold greenie somewhere around in this particular lockers and stuff like that. So, if I recall correctly, it's going to be on the second locker, thanks to the forms of that particular locker has been shaking. So, that is where you find the gold greenie right there. So, yeah, pretty easy to notice. So either way, so I'm pretty sure we are basically done with this particular room right here. So I wonder what's in that. Okay, it's just nothing. So the first locker and the third locker are basically nothing. So either way, nothing to worry about this for the sake of time. So let's just go ahead and hop onto this particular slow-moving gear. In fact, it also kind of reminds me of Hot Shelter a little bit from Sonic Adventure, specifically for Amy and E102 Gamma, when it comes to those stages in mind, because obviously though we're going to be traversing into specific gears as platforming-esque kind of action to it. So either way, so I suppose we are basically done here for now, unless assuming if I accidentally don't miss something, but if I did, then again though, I will try to able to cut it off screen, so I can show you guys where exactly what that specific thing I was missing. So either way, so now we've got the key, so that way we can now proceed into the next room onto the left. So I wonder what the next room is going to await us, I wonder. But then again though, certain missions nowadays is going to get a little bit more lengthy at this point, especially concerning for the fact that, well, we have to do multiple things at once. So either way, so yeah, as to be expected, there's some bunch of money notes right here, all stacked up and everything, just in case we can either collect it for ourselves or simply just trying to able to actually suck it up and stuff like that. So anywho, apparently though, what I've also found out is about the fact that apparently though, Sonic Team Boss have no plans for Sonic Adventure 3 or a separate Child Garden game, and I'm just like, oh, that's disappointing, especially concerning for the fact that a lot of Sonic fans have been so desperately able to see Child Garden makes a return, but unfortunately though, according to the forms of Sonic Team Boss, as I said before, has no plans for it, especially concerning for the fact that, well, I understand about the fact that they are still working on something else. To be more specifically though, is about the fact that at this point in time, that we've only got about a couple of weeks left until Sonic X Shadow Generations will be releasing at some point, Although, for I've also found out about the fact that the Tokyo Game Show is almost around the corner. To be more specifically, I think it's about to happen at some point at the end of this month, specifically on the 26th of September or something like that, around the exact same day actually, as in The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom was going to be releasing during that period. So either way, so as you can see, we meet again with the forms of that familiar Toad painting ever since in Haunted Towers, except this time we're about to be rescuing a different colored Toad. Which, that appears about the fact that we are rescuing Yellow Toad, especially concerning for the fact that obviously though he will be the host again for the likes of Super Mario Party Jamboree ever since in both Mario Party 9 alongside with Mario Party Island Tour, whilst unlike Mario Party 10, that Blue Toad was actually the host in that game, despite the fact that that was the only time he's actually a part of the host for the majority of the Mario Party game or something like that, when it comes to Mario Party 10 in mind. Although, Blue Toad did occasionally do certain hosts on certain minigame modes in both Mario Party 9 alongside with Mario Party Island Tour, but that's besides the point. So, as usual, we're going to be doing the actual escort segment right here, although except the fact that not only about the fact that we are still about to be able to try to capture some more ghosts, to be more accurate though, more greenies just like the forms of how it does on the previous missions, although now with some shields they somehow now got. But then again though is about the fact I highly recommend until you're able to actually fill up the actual specific color, like red for instance, then obviously though you can able to actually break not one but two shielded greenies at the same time. So either way though, that's a lot more satisfying to boot, although relatively speaking though, that's as far as I can try to say about that particular strategic factor I guess. So actually, is there a button to step on in order to able to actually lower the cage? There we go. Because that way we can able to aim Yellow Toad right at that particular conveyor belt, and we'll just let him stand on the conveyor belt, and we'll meet him onto the other side. So just to ensure for the fact that we can able to, you know, keep an eye on Yellow Toad and all that stuff, while at the same time though, trying to capture even more greenies and all that stuff though. I'm very surprised about the fact that Toadette was nowhere to be found in any other Luigi's Mansion games up to this point. All it does is basically is just, well, we're mostly able to see multicolored Toads at this point and all that jazz. I mean, so far about the fact that we've only come across into the familiar red Toad with blue jacket and all that stuff, and now we've somehow come across into Yellow Toad so far. So either way though, also, speaking of which though, when it comes to the Tokyo Game Show, I just realized about the fact that we're about to be getting multiple events for the sake of the Tokyo Game Show. Like, one of them is actually by the forms of Level 5, who made, you know, Professor Layton games. Well, suffice to say though, they somehow listed for a grand total of 4 games in particular, in regards to the forms of Level 5 for the Tokyo Game Show as far as I'm concerned, and those are Ducker Police, Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, Olivia 11, Victory Road, and finally, Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. So it may look like the majority of the Switch games are gonna be shown up for the likes of the forms of Level 5 presentation for the Tokyo Game Show. So as far as I'm aware, now the majority of some games are gonna be playable alongside with live broadcast, except for one, which appears to be Deca Police. So that's as far as I can usually try to able to say about this, I guess. So as far as I'm aware, it's going to take place at some point, as I said before, around the exact same day, as in The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom will be releasing during that period. So yeah, it's to be more specifically though on the September 26th, so I'm sure about the fact that we might see some more gameplay footage of Professor Layton and a New World of Steam after all, but I'm very curious to know of how the controls might play out to be. I'm pretty sure it's going to be touchscreen controls, just like the forms of how it does it in the majority of the Professor Layton games on the DS and 3DS respectively, but that's as far as I can usually try to say about it. So either way, and also speaking of which though, is about the fact that not only about the fact that Level 5 is going to be participating in Tokyo Game Show, but that could be also applies to the forms of not only Sega, but also Atlus as well. So generally speaking though, we might able to actually see some more gameplay footage for, let's just say, with Sonic X Shadow Generations and much more I can probably think about on top of my head, especially concerning for the fact that, as you expect, that I'm still basically excited about the forms of Sonic X Shadow Generations, especially concerning for the fact that not only about the fact that they did somehow show us some more brand new artwork for the likes of Sonic X Shadow Generations, but it's also about the fact that they also did manage to able to have some collaborations with one of those food products, specifically Red Bull. You know, with the Red Bull, with the forms of energy drinks and stuff like that. Well, it's going to be having not one, but two different canned flavors or something like that. So either way though, yeah, and straight to the point though, is about the fact that I really love the actual new artwork they somehow shown us when it comes to forms of Sonic X Shadow Generations. Like, obviously we actually have ourselves two different side perspectives when it comes to both Sonic and Shadow, and as far as I'm aware, Sonic is going to be yet again face off against with the Time Eater, just like the forms of how it does in the original version of the game. But in terms of Shadow's perspective though, I've never actually seen a new foe like that before. It's like, I don't know, like a Time Eater with Black Doom or Doom's Eye combined into one or something like that. I'm curious to know how the fact that what that particular creature was actually going to be known for. Well, then again though, we have to wait and see what happens and during at some point in the next couple of weeks' time, especially concerning for the fact that after all, that like I said before, we're almost there to October, because after all though, we're still on the 20th of September after all. So either way though, my expectations went through the roof when it comes to able to actually notice something is about to happen, but then again though, we're probably not going to talk about any spoilers for the time being, at least as far as I can tell, until when it gets to the point until likely on next month in particular though. So either way, and we've been again with the forms of those familiar mummies ever since during the forms have been the second mission, which is of course Underground Expedition, but now we need to keep an eye on with Yellow Toad this time. So because of that though, however, if you're trying to able to actually get too much distraction when it comes to dealing with a lot of combat and stuff like that, every once in a while though is about the fact that certain ghosts, specifically sneakers mind you, that he will try to able to take Toad away from us. So because of that though, we have to be quick on this part, even though thankfully though, that out of nowhere, that well, it's hard for me to explain, because then again though, it has been about 2 days ago since I actually have last played this game for sure, especially concerning for the fact that, you know, uploading schedules is still gonna be, you know, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from now on, unless if something is about to happen and during that oh, what the heck? That Yellow Toad just somehow managed able to teleport into, well, some random spots, I guess. So, yeah, as you see right there, that Yellow Toad has been, you know, hostage by Sneaker right there. Now, in order able to actually let Yellow Toad to be freed, well, we can able to actually try to able to actually suck out of it, or potentially speaking though, I have nothing else to say, because obviously though, as you can tell, I'm just trying to, you know, trying to deal with this little mummy creature right there, and usually if we somehow unravel that particular mummy tape, then obviously though, again, greenies decide to show up again. So, yeah, it's gonna be you know, a common occurrence when it comes to trying to deal with those greenies every once in a while. Like, I just wish there was actually more variety, I guess. But thankfully though, we did somehow manage able to stun those two right here, and okay, EGAD's call again, so not too surprising there. Although, potentially speaking, I was about the fact I'm pretty sure we're nearly at the end of this particular mission itself. I still haven't found one of those boos just yet though, but if I do ended up missing a boo though, then I get the horrible feeling about the fact that I might have to do this entire mission again, so... But, then again though, it's about the fact that you have to complete the mission in order to able to actually claim your reward, whilst otherwise, if you accidentally pause the game and try to exit the mission, well, you're not going to be able to claim any of that, so you have to complete the mission the whole way through within point A to point B, similar to the forms of how it does it for, you know, trying to find the certain amount of chows, or specifically trying to get the special stage key in Sonic Advance 3, but that's besides the point. Now, there's actually a secret technique you can able to actually do with Yellow Toad right there, is that you have to aim for that particular thing on the background that usually goes like back and forth within left and right. Well, you can able to try to do that, and obviously though it might actually give you something very rewarding, which I'm about to try to do right about now, but if I failed it quite a few times, I'm probably not going to waste too much time on it though, especially concerning for the fact that at this point in time, I am basically guaranteed to get myself the best ranking after all, specifically with the 3-star ranking, and on top of all that stuff though, we need Yellow Toad for one specific thing, until whenever we reach all the way back to the beginning of the mission, which as a result though, yeah, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on puzzles in this particular mansion indeed, especially concerning for the fact that we have to do so much, you know, puzzles to work with, so... But either way, that's as far as I can say about the forms of how the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking, I was about the fact that, there's also another thing that's worth mentioning for, actually, speaking of which, that I did somehow manage able to found out, actually, about the fact that when it comes to the forms of certain mini-games in Super Mario Party Jamboree, the 8-player mini-game specifically though, I like that one of those mini-games is actually a combined, or a combination rather, of not only a mini-game from Mario Party 7, but also the mini-game from Mario Party 8, which there are Dutch cover alongside with the Trump Wash at the same time, and combine those two into one. And basically though, I'm pretty sure that one of those players needs to spray at the chain chomp to able to actually give the chain chomp a good old clean, whilst compared to the forms of the other 7 players, needs to able to try to deal with the forms of that particular pipe to able to actually try to Dutch cover. So yeah, it's like a combination of Dutch cover from Mario Party 7 and at the Trump Wash from Mario Party 8, basically. Except the fact that we now utilize with the proper controller, rather than just, you know, motion controls or even touch controls in, well, both Mario Party 8 for motion controls and touchscreen controls in the top 100, respectively. So, but anyway, also, about the fact that there's also another thing is worth mentioning for, actually, that apparently though, originally though, when it comes to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in mind, that originally though, about the fact that it was originally going to be called The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Dragon, but in the final version they somehow call it Tears of the Kingdom instead, because obviously that was about the fact that, well, we might see some dragons in that game, but relatively speaking, it was just about the fact that we're going to be exploring through a lot of portions of the entire kingdom, ranging from, you know, Sky, Hyrule itself, in addition to depths as well. So either way, so let's just go ahead and go through here. And as far as I'm aware, we can able to actually see there is the final clock part right there. But if you're probably wondering, how are we supposed to get that? Well, that's where Yellow Toad comes into play. So basically though, it's about the fact that we need to, well, first of all, let me just collect some more money, so just in case for the good rank's sake. Well, mind you, it's nothing worth anything at this point in time, because, you know, we are fully leveled up and everything, so we are essentially good to go at this point. So, yeah, I think we are basically done here, so still no sign of Boo, but then again though, if I miss the Boo, then, you know, I can deal with the actual editing stuff to do, so... Anyway, you see that little hole there? Launch Yellow Toad right in there, and that way he will automatically grab that particular item for us, and now we need to meet up with him, and then we can able to actually get one of the items, which is to be more specifically, this little turning wheel thing, which is important for the sake of trying to able to actually access to the final point of the forms of old clockworks, which pretty much leads us to the forms of, you know, the clock tower gate. So, and now we need to make our way back to the forms of service elevator, and fundamentally though, I think that's as far as how this mission goes. I mean, sure, it's a bit lengthy though when it comes to the entire process of going for this mission entirely though, because again, when it comes to likely trying to find specific stuff, including gems and collecting a whole bunch of money for good ranking's sake, but either way. So yeah, we can now able to actually hop onto this little very slow conveyor belt. Well, it doesn't take me that far from it though, so that's besides the point. So
Come on.
yeah, I get the horrible feeling I might actually missed out on that boost, so oh great. So I'm pretty sure it can't be very well hidden, but I'm sure enough that we'll try to find it as much as we can. So, anyways, you know what that particular beginning portion right there, as you probably already realized, there was actually the 12th gem in here. So, launch Yellow Toad from there, and that way, not only he gives you a 12th gem automatically, but also we're able to get ourselves some more gold bars. So, I think that's essentially quite enough gold to be able to predict, to able to actually reach that 3-star ranking medal. So, and that pretty much does it for this mission.
Here you go. Bye-bye. Oh.
So, yeah, everything else checks out there. So, also about the fact that I was a little bit annoyed and irritated at the same time, because every time whenever I watch something like, certain Let's Plays, alongside with the films and some more gameplay footage on Super Mario Party Jamboree, there are two advertisements that really irritate me so far. That's what appears to be one of those apps that's more likely invested with money, and the other one is actually based off of one of those app games. So one of which is actually involves around Brawl Stars, which I'm getting so sick of the forms of that game, by the way, when it comes to that particular advertisement's existence. Plus, it's mainly because not only about the fact that one of those adverts did actually feature John Cena, but it's also about the fact that I'm just so sick of the forms of that particular repeated animated moments here and there, but that's besides the point. And the other one of those advertisements I'm getting a little bit annoyed and ticked off about, and especially becomes a little bit repetitive at one point, and that's what appears to be Money Box. And relatively speaking, I just found this to be, you know, not only repetitive, but it's also irritating, and you probably get the idea, because it just keeps on popping up more often than that. I'm sure about the fact that a lot of Let's Players out there, or YouTubers out there, has already come across that specific issue. Well, that's besides the point. So, anyway, so we got ourselves the majority of those gems right here, and yeah, as I said before, unfortunately we've missed out on one of those boos, but then again though, I'm trying to able to actually edit this out, so either way, at the very least we did manage to able to capture ourselves the forms of the stronger variant of Sneaker. So yeah, everything else checks out there. So now we've got all three of those clock parts, so naturally speaking now, we can now able to proceed into the Clock Tower Gate, which pretty much leads us to the next boss in the game, or specifically, the next main boss. Although, again, we'll talk more about that until whenever we go on to our next Monday, because obviously though, it's about the fact that, straight to the point though, that until tomorrow, that Pac-Man will definitely going to be coming back on playing through Pac-Man World on the Game Boy Advance. So again, wish him luck, I suppose, especially concerning with how the fact that he keeps on and on for, you know, for that particular complaint about, you know, depth perception when it comes to, like, 3D platforming, or should I say, the isometric platforming here and there. So, yeah, you probably get the idea what I was expecting to try to mention about that. So, but anyway, so yeah, nothing else I can really say. Although, technically speaking though, there's about the fact that I also do realize about the fact that there's actually a new update is about to be coming during later on in this month, which appears to be by the forms of Sonic Dream Team, which usually not only does it bring up not only one, but 3 new features for that particular recent update. So, for instance, they'll try to able to brought up the forms of unlockable powers, like blue coins can be used to unlock powers including Stomp, Super Glide, Wall Boost, and Shield. Which was pretty cool to me though. So anyway, so I'll meet you guys back as soon as we're able to try to find this missing boo, and hopefully I'll try to do my successful attempt of that secret technique. So I'll meet you guys back. Okay, so I did find out where the missing boo was, and then again though, it's pretty well hidden, especially concerning for the fact that it's pretty easy to miss if you have a first time playing for this mission. You see that wall on the left? Well, apparently though, we can able to actually try to suck it up, and actually as it turns out, that actually reveals this hidden room. So not only does it contain this invisible chest right there, so that way we can able to, you know, suck up some more spirit balls, and there he is. So, and there's also a chest of drawers, which is entirely optional, by the way. So, all that really matters though is about the fact that we've somehow found the 15th boo so far in Luigi's Mansion 2. So either way, wow, look how ridiculously fast this is going. Well, mind you about the fact that I'm not a big fan of the fact that how the the boo capturing system works in this game, because it feels a bit, well, kind of slow. But at least on the upside is, though, unlike the first game though, he does not go into different rooms if he somehow managed to go into on panic mode. So yeah, there goes the 15th boo. So yeah, everything else will be checked out the way it is. Okay, let me just go ahead and try to do this little technique as I've shown you earlier. Well, despite the fact that it actually took me about a couple of tries to do this, but let's see if we can able to try to succeed. And there you go. If you manage to let Yellow Toad get bonks on that particular thing right there, all the actual money notes have been flying down, and as a result you can get the ridiculous amount of money in the whole entire process. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool and awesome at the same time. So yeah, everything else is all unchecked. Alright, we somehow made our way to the end of this mission now, and now we can pretty much guarantee we can now able to go back into EGAT's lab. So anyway, like I stated before, is about the fact that when it comes to some more updates will be revealed for Sonic Dream Team. Another one of those things they did brought up, which appears to be daily levels, which is not much info on it as given on these, but that can be used to unlock new rewards. So that's essentially how they describe about. And finally, most notably, explore new challenge levels. So there are new score attack modes where you can able to do chain together moves to increase your combat, multiplayer, and you know, get new high scores. So yeah, that's all there is to it when it comes to the forms of some new updates they're trying to bring out for the sake of Sonic Dream Team, despite the fact I still haven't get a chance to play that game yet, because obviously though, it's kind of unfortunate, it's usually exclusive onto Apple Arcade for some time, since in last year, in 2023, which I felt a little bit bummed out about, because obviously though, I was really looking forward to playing that game, but then I found out subscription is required when it comes to Apple Arcade. So again, it is very unfortunate, and it's also a missed opportunity to me anyway. So, anyways, with that being said, folks, is that we get endings off this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion 2, aka Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, if you lived in North America. And that's what appears to be about the fact that we're going on to the boss mission, which is Showtime. So, this should be a lot more fun. So I'll see you guys until on Monday. Later, fellas.